On today's episode of The Pot Thickens, I'm going to show you how to make this delicious and nutritious lentil and oat-based burger that's going to knock your socks off. Hi, I'm Greg and welcome back to another episode of The Pot Thickens. I want to continue our discussion of lentils. Lentils are some of the most nutritious things you'll find on the planet, and I just love them. They're full of protein and fiber, and they usually cook to this really nice creamy consistency, and so they add a lot of texture to a dish, whether you're using the split ones for that creamier texture or the whole ones so you get some of the more fiber from the skin. They work in many different things. What I have here are two versions of the same lentil called masoor lentils. The orange one here is called red lentils, and they're the split and husked lentil, and you can see it's got this nice orange color in it. The whole lentil, before it's husked and split, looks like this. It's called crimson lentils, and if you're at the Asian market or the Indian market, what you'll see is this is packaged as masoor matki, M-A-T-K-I, whereas this one is called masoor malka. They're two variations of the same thing. This has a brown skin and might be called also a brown lentil, but inside is that same orange color of that red lentil that you'll find in the split one. Now this cooks up really nice and creamy if you want a little bit more fiber in your dish, or you want the lentils to be a little more intact and hold their shape. This is the one you use. So I use these exclusively when a recipe calls for, say, brown lentils or green lentils or something that you're looking for a lentil dish. Today I'm going to share with you a recipe for a lentil burger, and it is these whole masoor lentils that I use to make this burger. In my opinion, the best homemade veggie burgers contain four main ingredients: some kind of legume, whether that's black beans or in our case lentils, some binder starch, I'm using oats, some vegetables that give it flavor and moisture, and some spices. I'm also going to use some walnuts for some texture and some healthy oils. I'm starting with 1 cup of these crimson lentils and 2 cups of water, and we're going to cook that for about 20 minutes until those get nice and tender. While those lentils are cooking, we're going to mix together some of the other ingredients. I have in my food processor about 1.5 cups of walnuts. To that I'm going to add a cup of rolled oats, and I'm going to just give these a little bit of a process and chop those up a little bit. At this point, I'm going to add the vegetables. I have going into the food processor 1/2 of a large onion, I have 1 carrot, and 4 cloves of garlic that have been roughly chopped up. I'm going to process this until it becomes a pretty fine mixture. For the seasonings, I'm adding about 1 teaspoon of thyme, 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1 teaspoon of onion powder. In this case, I'm using my homemade leek powder from leeks I grew in the garden and dried. And to give this a little bit more flavor, I'm using 2 tablespoons of a Maggi seasoning. If you can't find that, you can use soy sauce or a little bit of miso paste or something else to give a little umami. A sprinkle of black pepper, and I thought that this would be a little bit too thin and need a little bit more binder, so I added 1/2 cup of chickpea flour. You'll find this called besan flour in your Indian or Asian grocery store. When the lentils are done cooking, you just want to drain off any excess water. I actually was saving this water in case I needed to add it to the mixture to moisten it if it needed it. In this case, I did not need it. But I add this to the food processor with the other ingredients, and I don't bother cooling it down. I just mix it all together warm and blend it until it's a nice, smooth, sort of meaty texture. At this point, the only salt I've added was what was in the Maggi seasoning, so I do need to season this with some more salt, and I'll mix this and taste it and get the seasoning right. Since this is not raw meat, you can certainly taste this as is to check for your seasoning level. Adjust it to your taste. Once I have everything mixed together the way I like it, I actually prefer to have this sit in the fridge for a couple of hours to let all those starches and things all merge together to make for a nice texture for forming the patties. So this is going into a bowl. It's going to be covered and placed into the fridge. After a couple of hours in the refrigerator, it's time to make our patties. Now I made enough burger mixture here to make about 6 patties, and so I'm going to divide this roughly into 6 equal sizes and pat them out and place them on a parchment paper lined baking sheet. Now you just want to pop these into a 400-degree Fahrenheit oven and bake them for about 25 minutes. Turn them over after the first 10 minutes so that it gets evenly browned on all sides. And there you have it, healthy, delicious, nutritious lentil oat burgers that are crisp on the outside, tender and moist and juicy on the inside, and just begging for your favorite fixings. Pop that on a bun and enjoy. If you liked what you saw here today, please make sure you hit that thumbs up button. It really helps me a lot. And if you want to see how I made these delicious butternut squash buns, please leave a comment down below and let me know.